S24 Ultra was my dream phone for years, and I finally bought it. I'll admit I was a massive Samsung fanboy, and when this phone dropped, this was the peak of Android. It had the best specs and the best AI. It was told to be the perfect phone, but I kind of missed my Poco. First, let's talk about the design. Before I bought it, I was terrified because every reviewer said that it has boxy corners and it pokes and cuts your hand. Honestly, I didn't felt it that much. My hands are big and I use a case. It fits perfectly in my hands, and in a case it feels solid, boxy and premium. So yeah, if you're worried about the ergonomics, I think it depends on your hands. But once you get past the design, you run into the first real issue, getting into the phone. On my old Poco F7, the unlocking was instant even with the cheap $2 tempered glass because it had optical sensors. Samsung uses an ultrasonic sensor and it uses sound waves, and it is incredibly picky. When I first put a standard screen protector on my S24 Ultra, it was a nightmare. It barely worked. I actually had to go out and buy a really premium and expensive screen protector just to get it to work. And sure, it works now, but here's the thing, even with the premium glass, it still feels slower and less smooth than my cheap Poco. I shouldn't have to buy a premium glass just to make my fingerprint sensor reliable. And yeah, that was my main issue. And let's get into the software. You expect a flagship to handle everything, right? Everyone knows One UI is the most loved software in Android OS, and people love the experience. But I felt a little downgrade in multitasking when I switched from HyperOS to One UI. On the Poco phone, the native windows were smooth. You swipe up and it opens the floating window. In Samsung, it doesn't work that straight. There are two ways to use the floating window. Either you swipe up on the recent windows and click on it to get the floating window turned on, or you could use the good luck feature to make gestures to open the floating windows for the currently running app or another apps. And here comes the main problem. Let's say you use the good luck feature to optimize your experience on the multitasking, and now you can swipe from left bottom to open the floating window. But the thing comes here, when you open Instagram app or even TikTok and you change the app into floating window, it changes the video and it pisses me off every time. And I really miss my Poco at that time. Like, I will show you the screen recording of both phones on how this works, and you can see the difference.
Quit being a little.
No more bullshit. You are either with me or